Did Brent Venables take a little subtle shot at Jackson Arnold?
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. I've had so many people reach out to me and they want me to address this or give my opinion on it. And it was about the press conference of Brent Venables on I guess, I don't know, Monday maybe, and his comments in regarding to Jackson Arnold, because some people feel like it may have been a shot. So we'll break that down. I'll give my thoughts, pro and con. We'll have some fun with that. And then I got some practice updates from yesterday, some injury updates, as well as Auburn has a 5-star commit. I got an update on him as well. We'll jump into all that in just a second. But before we get started, let's give a quick shout out to Rhoback.com. I got my Rhoback hoodie on right now, feeling nice and snuggly. Go to Rhoback.com, use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. You're not going to be disappointed. Everything they have just feels and looks amazing. And you can save big. Auburn licensed apparel as well. Several hoodies, pullovers. They got a cool quarter zip that's white, and it's got the helmet stripe across the chest all the way around. Looks really cool. Save big. It's Rhoback.com. Like I said, I saw this in glancing, like in passing, just really quickly, and I didn't really think much about it. But some people were like, man, you need to listen to the question that was asked and then the very first part of the answer because they felt like maybe it was a little bit of a shot. So I'll read it to you and then we'll break it down. So he was asked, how have you seen essentially Jackson improve from last year to this year? I think that's the key part of it for why people are saying it may be a shot. So how have you seen Jackson improve? And this was his answer. He's the same guy. I think he's got a healthy football team around him, and he's having great success running, throwing, and being really efficient. He's taking care of the ball, and the people around him are really good. Can't play quarterback by yourself, right? So I think their offense and defense complement each other, and he's really done a really good job. I think the hang up there for some fans that feel like it was a shot is that very first part of the answer, because he was asked, how have you seen improvement? And he said he's the same guy. Now, I'm going to take this from the conspiratorial, he took a shot point of view. Then I'm going to take it from the, maybe the more accurate point of view, and I'll let you guys decide. The conspiratorial point of view says, same guy. I mean, just look at him through the first 3 games. He doesn't look confused. He looks confident in his decision-making. He's completing a higher percentage of passes. He knows where to go, a pretty significant percentage of passes. He knows where to go with the football. You can just kind of see it on his face. He doesn't look like he's been completely failed by his coaching staff. And it seems like the players around him are extremely confident in his play as well. I mean, I think he's got 1 turnover. I think he had several, 5 or 6 over the first 3 games at Oklahoma, completing again almost 9 percentage points higher as far as accuracy goes. And then I would love to even know the adjusted completion percentage, because like Hugh said against Ball State, he was 24 of 28, but 2 of those were throwaways. And his percentage box score against South Alabama is not going to look great, but he also had like 5 drops and a couple throwaways. So he's been very, very accurate with the football. And I think the most people see a guy that just doesn't seem like a deer in the headlights. His confidence just seems completely different. So when you say, and in the running game as well, it's not so much of the yardage is not super different, but the decision-making is a part of it. I think a lot of his yardage at Oklahoma was probably running for his life, whereas he's sort of consciously making the decision off of RPO reads and things like that to make a decision and go, and he's averaging a higher yard per carry as well at Auburn. So I think if you're looking at it from a conspiratorial lens, I could see how you could equate what's the difference you see in Jackson from last year to this year, and he's the same guy as the way that exchange starts off. I could see how maybe you could look at that maybe he's taking a little dig, or maybe it's honestly, I'm tired of answering questions about Jackson Arnold, which that is the new era of college football. You got to talk about kids that have left you because now they're going to come back and play you. I mean, just look at, Tulane's quarterback goes to Duke, and then Tulane goes to Duke and beats them. I know there was a lot of questions about stuff like that. There's all kinds of players now that go elsewhere, and then you saw it at SEC Media Days. You got to answer a bunch of questions about kids that left you from other programs to go to other programs. So I don't know. Here is a more realistic. I don't want to say realistic. Here's the more not negative point of view. And this may be where I land a little bit. I think that it's pretty clear that anybody who's watched Jackson ever since high school and even into Oklahoma, whenever he played sparingly that first year under Jeff Lebby, saw the potential, sees the potential. And I think realistic people can look at last season, and Brent even kind of mentioned it. Coach Venables mentioned it a little bit when he said he's got a healthy football team around him. I think most people can understand that last year was a complete and utter disaster for Oklahoma. It's almost shocking how much bad luck they had last year as far as health goes. And the potential was always there. The tools were always there. So it's not like he gained more tools. It's not like he lost tools while he was at Oklahoma. It's that the potential to be a really confident quarterback, an effective college quarterback, was there last year too. They just didn't have the surrounding cast. Now, I think from what I've seen, I see a guy that's game has definitely progressed. I think I see a little bit more out of him as just a pure quarterback than I saw from him last year. So I don't necessarily think he's the same guy, but I understand maybe what Venable is saying here. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you think it was completely innocent. It was a compliment, or if you think maybe it was a little bit of a dig to saying, hey, that's the same guy that was here last year. I know he may have a healthy team around him, but we'll see what happens on Saturday kind of thing. I think I'll lean with it was not necessarily a dig. I think it was just the way he answered the question. So let me know what you think in the comments. I want to talk about practice yesterday and some injury updates. We'll get into that in just a second. We'll be back right after this. I think the big question this weekend is going to be who's healthy and who's not. In the SEC play, I think you have to do those injury reports, and I think those actually come out today. So we should know a little bit as far as probable, who's out, who's questionable, that kind of stuff, at least the preliminary injury report. Typically when Auburn signifies an injury, or whenever there's someone dinged up in practice, they have yellow jerseys on. It's a non-contact jersey. So it's pretty easy to pick them out. You know what I mean? Like you go to practice and you say, okay, so-and-so, that person. Okay, there's 4 guys in yellow shirts. Let's figure out who they are. Boom, boom, boom. They're obviously non-contact. So there's some kind of something going on with those guys. So naturally yesterday when you roll in there and there's no non-contact jerseys and you think about all the people that are dinged up, you get excited. Hey, seems like maybe everybody's healthy. But there's still a couple of guys that I think are going to be questionable. Amaris Williams, I'm honestly going to be surprised if he plays. There's a lot. That shoulder issue, I think, is going to be pretty significant. It's going to take some time for him to get over. He was definitely favored yesterday. So that'll be one. I think you got to get Jared Smith definitely some more reps. And I talked about him yesterday to a couple of friends. I'm like, man, he's got something that you can't really put your finger on. You can't quantify it. There's no real statistical marker that you can point to, but he just pops. Like when he does a drill, it just pops. Bobby Jamison Travis is another one. When they do a drill, you're just like, that just looked, sounded, and felt different. And Jared Smith definitely has that. So I think he'll definitely get he should get a little bit more playing time. They still got a good rotation even before you get to Jared, but he's graded out extremely high in pass rush, and you're going to have to definitely get after John Mateer. And the only thing I could see is maybe a negative is you can't just pin your ears back and tee off on this guy. You have to be a little bit more disciplined. So is Jared's game there yet? I don't 100% know. I know it's when he can pin his ears back, look out. He just pops. Jay Crawford was not really involved in a lot of the drills yesterday. I know he had a banged knee. When I say banged knee, like he banged a knee against somebody else's knee against South and came out essentially the whole second half. He was on a bike most of the time. I never really saw him he was fully dressed out. So those are two guys that are pretty important, Amaris and Jay, that weren't in non-contact jerseys but weren't super involved yesterday, that I'm just a little bit concerned about. We'll see what happens when the game gets here and what that initial injury report looks like. On the more positive side, Rayshawn Pleasant did not play against South Alabama. He was a full participant. Not only that, but whenever they went to some of the 11-on-11 stuff, he was the first guy out there at corner on one side, and I think he had Kagan on the other. Broke up a big pass early on that I thought was really impressive. I think it was intended for Malcolm. Return game and I think he's just a good player in general. That's a good one. That's a good one you want back. Champ Anthony was a full participant for the most part. He does have that big cast on his thumb, on his arm. So where and how effective can he be? I think that's something to definitely watch. And then Damari. I think Damari will be ready to go. He was in there mixing it up, banging around. So that was fine. Okay, and then Malcolm. I forgot about Malcolm. Malcolm's full speed. I feel like we haven't really seen that wide receiver room all just 100% full speed quite yet. The very first game, Eric Singleton had that knee/thigh issue, and he was pretty obviously hampered a bit, and his statistics bore that out. And as the games have progressed, he's gotten more and more involved, and he's more and more of a weapon. In the passing game, not so much, just running that jet sweep. So Malcolm was out. Malcolm looks like he's ready to go too. Cam's obviously still good. Got to get him the ball a little bit more. I really don't know the answer to that. Just got to be able to get Cam the ball more. So I think the wide receiver room is going to be about as healthy as you can be at this point in the season, which is a good thing. Offensive line looks good. Defensive line looks good. Other than, obviously Amaris. But we'll see what happens. But that was the biggest thing yesterday to watch, was who was going to be participating. And I kind of made sure I had my eyes on Amaris the whole time, because I think he's extremely important. Man, he was the read on an option play They pitched off of him, and then he went and made the tackle. It's crazy. And to make the guy pitch, you have to essentially, if the quarterback's is running the ball and he's got to pitch it, you have to be close enough to the quarterback to make him think you're going to tackle me, not the running back, so that they can pitch it. And he did that and then rerouted and made the tackle. He's just a freak, man. You really need him to be healthy because he can do things. He can just do things that normal people can't because he's so normal defensive linemen, normal defensive ends can't do just because he's so dadgum athletic. So we'll see what happens this weekend. But I think for the most part, you're pretty healthy. Those two injuries, I think Jay will be fine. I think Jay Crawford will be fine. Probably just more precautionary than anything. So we'll see what happens when these injury reports come out. Jase Matthews, receiver from Mississippi that Auburn just picked up, I think, back in August. Auburn offered this kid back when he was either unranked or just a 3-star. And a lot of people that know football, a lot of people, especially from the Mississippi area or just the recruiting analysts in the Southeast, as they started to get eyes on this guy, they're like, man, this kid's way better than just a unranked 3-star or an unranked kid. He's really, really good. And his ascension just took off like on a rocket ship as more eyes got on him. And he just, as Rivals just released their latest update of rankings, not only was he a 5-star, not only was he the number 12 overall player in the country, I believe he's the number 1 wide receiver in the country. That's huge, man. That's even bigger. I don't even think Cam Coleman was the number 1 wide receiver in the class whenever he came out. That'll just kind of give you a little bit of a a little bit of comparison there. 6'2", 195. You saw some film from him early in the season, just making a lot of different types of elite plays, whether it's one-on-one in a 50-50 scenario, whether it's beating you deep, whether it's taking a short pass, breaking a tackle and turning it into a long run. Whether it's shutting it down when you have soft coverage and coming back to the ball, or whether it's, hey, they're up in my face on the line and I'm going to get off and I'm going to beat them right off the line. You just see a lot of tools in his game. It's very complete, very early in his senior year. Now, for the bad news. I don't think it's completely official yet, but I think he may have had a season-ending injury this past Friday. So initial reports don't look good. I think it was something to do with his knee. Again, nothing quite official out yet, but we'll see what happens. He actually had an injury 2 weeks ago to his other leg, played through it, and then in the most recent game hurt his knee really bad. They had to take him off and leave the whole stadium and go have it looked at. So tough luck for that because, he was on pace for just a massive season. The good news is it's probably going to be something that can be fixed. And if he's an early enrollee, I think he probably is going to be healthy by spring ball when he gets here to Auburn. So it's early enough that, and it's not, I don't think it's catastrophic enough to where it's going to change who he is as a player. So still getting a really good player. Wish him the best and a speedy recovery. And I can't wait for that kid to get to Auburn because he's going to be special. It's another one stacked up by Marcus Davis. Just continue to build elite depth at the wide receiver position. So wish Jase the best and fired up that he's an Auburn Tiger. I think he's going to be a battle, though. I don't think it's going to be one that you can just 100% count as 1,000% solid. I think he's pretty solid to Auburn. But Ole Miss definitely wants him. And they just hired his cousin, Dante Moncrief, who played wide receiver. Actually, I think it was for Hugh. They just hired his cousin as a off-the-field staffer or something like that, or a grad assistant, something like that. So this is definitely going to be a battle, but I think he ends up at Auburn, and I think he's going to be a really, really good wide receiver. So, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you think that Brent Venables quote was a shot. I'm leaning no, but I'm open. I'm open to discussion. So let me know what you think on that. And we will talk again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.